Hey, what's going on, world of YouTube? So today marks the day we took delivery finally of the 2019 4500 Chevy Duramax, and here she is. So I want to do a walk around review video. I've only driven it about 30 something miles home, so not a whole lot of experience under the hood and crawling around it yet, but I thought this would be a good time to walk around and show you what we got. So first thing, certified clean idle, but Navistar. So the truck is built by International. It's got an international suspension, international frame, but the cab and the motor and the transmission, the drivetrain is all provided by General Motors. So it doesn't have a 7.3 liter or a 6.4 power stroke. It's all GM under the hood and GM powering it and a GM cab. But here she is, set up for an 84 cab to axle for a 12-foot body. And then also check out the frame, probably 3/16 or so, maybe quarter-inch thick, pretty hefty. It's got a 16,000 pound GVW on it. We got it with the lighter weight suspension. Come around here, she's on air, so factory airbags, but look at the mounting bracket for the airbags. This thing is freaking colossal. And then also nothing revolutionary, but we got shocks on it. That was actually an option. You can get these things from the factory without shocks and just straight leaf. So we got shocks and we got the airbags down below. Also, rear caliper. The brakes on this truck are massive. This is a 4500, but it carries over the same brakes that go on a 5500. So hopefully it can stop once it's got all the weight on it. Got a single 42 in the rear. Personally, I would have liked to see it be like 75 or so gallons, but when it comes to these manufacturers, you can't win everything. So one thing also, much like the Ford F650 and the 750, this thing is built with a pickup-based cab on it on a medium-duty transmission hit cross. And I mean, it's literally the exact same cab that you would have on a, well, obviously not the hood, but same cab that you would have on a 2500 or a 3500 Chevy with the same interior. So this is a LT package, and this was a custom order. We ordered it back in what was it, December, and it finally just came. There were several delays with General Motors and also with various distributors for GM, and so that's what put the delay on it. We got the 19.5-inch black rims with 225/70 19.5-inch Goodyear highway tread tires. This is a two-wheel drive model. There is a four-wheel drive available, but in California, honestly, don't really need it. And one other thing that is nice that not many people do anymore, serviceable drive shaft. It's got Zert fittings everywhere. So one thing that I really can't stand, these mirrors. I don't know how familiar everybody is with the previous generation 4500 Kodiaks from Chevy, but they had those big like sail mirrors that had the mast right here, and they came out and they're probably 24 inches tall. This has the exact same mirror that goes on a half-ton, a 3/4 ton, or a 1-ton. And once we have the body on it, it's going to have a custom body made by Harbor, and it'll be going over there in the next couple of weeks so they can get fabbed up. I mean, these mirrors, I honestly feel like they probably won't cut it and will have pretty good blind spots. Back seat, like I said, exact same thing as what you would have in a regular half-ton all the way up through the 3/4 ton. But 9 years later, General Motors finally figured out to put the def outside of the truck, not freaking under the hood. You have your all the other Duramaxes, they have the exhaust fluid under the hood. It's about time they figured out not to put it there. Oh, and before I pop up the hood on this thing, one thing that's kind of cool. So come over here, the Chevy emblem. It's black, right? No, actually it doesn't exist. See? This is just real thin mesh behind the grill. So you have a black bow tie, but you actually don't have one. It's kind of something different. But pop open the hood. Oh, there she is. All right, so this has a detuned L5P, 350 horsepower, 700 pounds of torque, Allison 1750 series transmission We ordered it with the Highway Series transmission, so it has a little bit higher gearing on it. And then, so one other nice thing, you can walk inside to the engine bay. And here I am inside the engine bay, which really will make service a breeze on this thing. Trans, oil, I mean, pretty basic stuff. Funny thing is, so this truck is rated for 16,000 pounds and it has a detuned Duramax, but it still only takes 10 quarts of oil, and it still takes the same oil filter that goes on a regular Silverado, which means service will be significantly cheaper than pretty much any other heavy duty or medium duty truck on the road. Have your Duramax, it's kind of hard to see, but I mean, it's buried in there somewhere. Massive air filter on the other side. The intake assembly is really different, but then here's your turbo in the back right here. Turbo sensor. Funny story, on my old Chevy Duramax, this same sensor right here, it got actually chewed by squirrels that crawled up under the hood, and it was about $700 to replace. And then check out the hoses for the power steering, freaking massive. And my happy dog. Anyway, so walk around back onto this side. So airbox is massive. I wonder if back in the day there used to be, you could mod the air boxes where you could cut out the fins that these things had on the side, get a little more airflow. Not sure if that's going to be the same case with this, or if there's any mods we can do to it, but I look forward to attempting to do some things with this truck to modify it. Simulators have been ordered. They're on their way from Eagle Flight. So let me just release the shock right there, put the hood back down, and then I'll come back to that in a minute. I'm not trying to make the video any longer than it needs to be. Recovery hooks down below for when it breaks down, because you know it's a Chevy. Just kidding. And then here's the air tank for the airbags in the rear. No auxiliary ports, so we won't be running any accessories off of it, but there's your air tank. Compressor is underneath the cab right there. And then what did I want to cover? Oh, calipers. Okay, so 19.5-inch rims. Look at the size of the brakes on this truck though. Yeah, 19.5-inch rim. Literally the caliper takes up 50% of the surface area on the wheel. DPF exhaust dumps out right in the back underneath the cab. This was actually a mistake from the factory because we ordered it to have the exhaust dump out the rear, but with the configuration they might have made some changes because it's got the airbag and it's got the rear mounted tank, so we have it dumping out right in the front. Not at the end of the world, not a big deal. But go take a and then battery tray right here. Oh, that's super stiff and tight. Everything's nice and new. Look at this, super easy tray for changing the batteries when they go bad in a couple of years. I'll fire this thing up once I get this back together. I really need a videographer. There we go. All right, open the cab. Like I said, nothing special, but it does have a few power options, which is really nice. So this thing really does sound good though when you fired it up. So the engine, I don't know how well you guys can hear it, but it does have a little bit of a different sound to it in comparison to the other Duramaxes. She sounds like a 6-cylinder, like the old cats that they used to put in the 6500 and 7500 series trucks. And then, thanks OnStar. Same touchscreen, same everything as what would go in the half-ton through the 3/4 ton, but airbags. Press that button right there, come around right here, and zoom in, let the air out. 6 inches of drop. That'll be really nice for loading and unloading stuff out of this truck. It's going to have an enclosed body on it, and we have a Chevy 3500 that is sitting right around the corner, and let's see if I put it in drive. There we go. Pump the airbags back up. I don't know how well you can see it, but she's going back up. So yeah, there we go. Airbags are pumped back up. Boom. Nice and easy. But overall, I mean, I'm pretty happy with the way that the truck came out, the way the order came out. Like I said, it did take about 6 months to get the truck, but there were several hiccups along the way with different distributors and General Motors, and then also just the shipping to get this truck back. So I think on the weight certificate, this thing, it sits at just under 10,000 pounds right now. That's without the body. And then once we get the body on, it's gonna have the identical of that white box right there. That's one of the dump trucks. That's one of the main service trucks that we have. And this one will be a nice complement to the fleet. And with the way things are looking right now, I'll probably be spending most of my time in this versus my 250 Lariat. So I'll have a lot of time behind the wheel on this truck, and I'll be able to post more videos on how it performs, mileage, all the specs you guys want to know about this new rig. And I'm pretty excited to probably be one of the first ones on the road that's not in a municipal application to be behind the wheel and give real world information and reviews on how it performs and how this truck is really going to be once it's loaded down and, you know, in service. So if there's anything anybody wants to know, just let me know, comment below, and I'll do my best to answer all your queries. Thanks for watching.